Veterans Stadium lay shadowed, empty, waiting for the fury of 47 players and the sound of 65,000 fans. But at Widener College, wide-eyed rookies and veterans ready for the challenge of the 1974 season. Training camp weeds out the weak from the willing. It tunes up the mind and the body and hardens legs that quiver like jello in the summer sun. The daily grind of 2-a-days taxes the spirit, but results are sculpted on trimmer stomachs and etched in every sweating face. Conditioning carries a team through 14 tough games and separates the pretenders from contenders in the highly competitive NFC East. Instead of tackling dummies, the Eagles dig their helmets into bodies, and X's and O's on the blackboard become a ballet on the practice field. The daily challenge of one-on-one, pitting the quick, short jab steps of the cornerback against the long, graceful, flowing strides of the receiver, polishes individual skills. The duels of two men blend into the teamwork of 22, and by early September, the quest for a championship begins, and the agony of summer camp ends. The roster is trimmed, and the Philadelphia Eagles are ready to settle in for the season and turn high hopes into victories. A loss to St. Louis tarnished the season's first week, but on Monday night, the Dallas Cowboys met the mean man in the middle that Mike McCormick and Ona Lenatoes acquired to shore up their young defense. The man was Bill Bergey, an all-pro middle linebacker and one of football's fiercest hitters. All night long, number 66 went full bore and draped his green jersey around cowboy backs. Bergey's play infected the whole defense, and the Eagles washed over Dallas in green waves. The Eagles trailed 7-0 until one big play unhinged the unflappable Cowboys. With it goal to go inside the 5, a surefire touchdown was derailed by a Bergey hit and the alert play of cornerback Joe Lavender. Lavender's 96-yard touchdown spiked certain defeat, and safety Randy Logan's interception nailed down certain victory. The seeds of a game-breaking defense took root with 2 dramatic takeaways, and with the score tied at 10, the Eagles wound down the clock, then left the game in trust to Tom Dempsey. The spirit and purpose forged in training camp was shared in victory. But amidst the cheer, there remained one unsettling fact. The Eagle offense, so devastating 1 year ago, had not scored a touchdown. The clamor over the emerging power of the defense grew louder when the Baltimore Colts came to town in Week 3. Once again, it was the Big Bird, Joe Lavender, who supplied the big play. Lavender's second touchdown in 2 games touched off a rout as the Philadelphia attack finally took wing. The offense of 1973 was resurrected with a familiar figure of Harold Carmichael, flying free in the secondary, and Tom Sullivan burning through truck-sized holes. Philadelphia won their second straight game 30-10. And then they found the sun and victory in San Diego the next week. Abetted by a strong rush, the Eagles' deep defense stretched out its tentacles and gobbled up the Charger passing attack. Tandem play by Bill Bergey and Bill Bradley produced a playbook interception. But it was the teamwork of Randy Logan and Bill Dunston that produced a touchdown. Dunston's 6-pointer was the 3rd touchdown in as many weeks by the defense, which rolled along well-oiled, while the offense remained rusty. Philadelphia squeaked by San Diego 13-7, but the next week they stormed over the New York Giants for their 4th win in a row. Roman Gabriel used a brilliant play-action fake by Poe James, number 27, and a quick post by Don Zimmerman to manufacture the Eagles' first touchdown pass of the year. The celebration of a touchdown so familiar a year ago when Philadelphia scored in clusters and salvos had been missing, and so had the smile of Mike McCormick. Title hopes surfaced anew as the Eagles rolled over the Giants like thunder. With their 35-7 conquest of New York, the Eagles enjoyed a 4-1 record and the heady atmosphere of first place in the East. Through the first 5 weeks, defense and special team play, 2 elements suspect a year ago, were the bulwarks of Mike McCormick's young team. Coordination between snap, hold, and Tom Dempsey's right leg resulted in field goals, while Dick LeBeau's kickoff and punt teams provided blanket coverage. The Eagles' punter was rookie Merritt Kersey from nearby Westchester State, and roaring down under his soaring punts came Frank Bemaster, Bobby Pickard, Roy Kirksey, Kevin Riley, and swift rookie Charlie Smith, number 85. Defensive coaches Walt Michaels, John Mazer, and Jerry Wampler orchestrated their units in perfect harmony. The moves of front 4, linebackers, and secondary flowed in perfect sync until they met at the ball. Where one appeared, many would follow, as hitting and teamwork were staples of the mean green machine. With quarterbacks sacked, their passes plundered, and running backs plastered, the Eagles turned 1973's weakness into 1974's strength. Joe Lavender's looks are deceiving. He played outstanding cornerback along with Johnny Outlaw. The safeties were young Randy Logan and veteran Bill Bradley. Steve Zabel and John Bunting played outside, and all-pro Bill Bergey was a rock in the middle. The greatest improvement was shown by the defensive line. At the ends were veterans Joe Turkey Jones, Will Wynn, and rookie Willie Cullors. This trio gave the Eagles their best outside rush in years. Whether it was blindsiding a quarterback or stripping apart a sweep, the ends devastated offenses. Their constant pressure helped allow only 9 touchdown passes, the second fewest in the NFL. If there was speed and quickness on the outside, there was power and strength up the middle. Quick Jerry Patton came from the Bills to storm passing pockets and steady, strong, and willing youngsters like Mitch Sutton. Bill Dunston is nicknamed the House Mover for good reason. And on stunts, while Patton dealed outside, Dunston uprooted quarterbacks inside. So it was defense that built a 4-1 record, and the Eagles' future indeed seemed bright when they left the vet on a crucial road trip. The first stop was Dallas, and with much at stake for both teams, the always hard-bitten rivalry boiled over into a brawl. The battle on the field was just as intense, but Roman Gabriel moved Philadelphia with crisp passes. A short touchdown to Harold Carmichael and a long bomb to Don Zimmerman tied the score at 17. But with the Eagles girding for victory, the game sailed to defeat when an Eagles fumble directly led to a 31-24 Dallas win. The next week in New Orleans, another victory was in reach until a certain touchdown was denied by inches. The Steelers' future pointed straight to the Super Bowl, and their defense plotted the way to the Eagles' third straight defeat. The 27-0 shutout by Pittsburgh evened the record at 4-4. Week 9 brought a must game with the Redskins, who unleashed their fearsome rush on Roman Gabriel. But this team that seemed tired, beaten, and battered licked its hurts and found gaping wounds in the Washington secondary. Harold Carmichael flat out beat Pat Fisher for his first touchdown, and some nifty scrambling by Gabe resulted in a second. But the Eagles' offense fell on its own sword when a maddening fumble fell into the lap of Chris Hamburger. With the game dead even at 20 and the clock winding down late in the last quarter, an old Eagle nemesis named Jurgensen popped a slingshot strike to Charlie Taylor. From a once gaudy 4-1 record, the Eagles stood 4-5. And ebbing fortune declined even more with a loss to St. Louis. The shadows grew longer, and so did the losing streak with their 6th straight loss at Washington. The dreams that danced in the August heat at Widener flickered and died in winter as all hope for a championship were finally and cruelly crushed. The hard rocks of the Eagle offense were John Sandusky's offensive line. Jerry Sizemore and Steve Smith were the tackles. Mark Norquist and Wade Keed the guards. And the center was Guy Morris. While the ground game failed to measure up to the previous season, John Idzik's setbacks added a necessary dimension to the passing attack. Both Norm Boulash and Poe James turned short passes into valuable gains. Tom Sullivan caught passes from incredible positions. And in the NFC, only Chuck Foreman scored more touchdowns in 1974. Boyd Dowler's receivers came in all sizes. 6-foot rookie Charlie Smith needs only seasoning to become a star, while 6'3" Don Zimmerman already is a bona fide deep threat. However, the man the Eagles looked to in must situations was their 6'4", 235-pound all-pro tight end, Charlie Young. Blessed with speed, size, and strength, Young bettered his awesome rookie season. Sliding in and out of the nooks and crannies of the zone, Young's 63 receptions gave the Eagles the NFC leader for the 3rd straight year. While Young led the NFC, the man who ranked 3rd rose up like a skyscraper. At 6'8", Harold Carmichael was the ultimate weapon, a giant-sized end surveying an arena filled with short cornerbacks. Blessed with speed as well as size, number 17 explodes at the snap, and his hands presented an inviting target for a Gabriel screen or a John Reeves bomb. Freewheeling at flank speed in the open field, Harold Carmichael was an awesome sight to opposing secondaries. With the new rules restricting contact, Carmichael was virtually unstoppable inside the 20, and his 8 touchdowns led all NFC receivers. Enriched by three such tall and talented receivers in Carmichael, Zimmerman, and Young, the Eagles' full-service passing attack will be a cutting edge for the offense for years to come. Despite a 4-7 record, the final 3 games of the season were greeted by Eagle fans with optimism. Even the bitter chill and blustery winds did not dismay the diehards. Facing the Green Bay Packers, the defense caused 8 fumbles, one of which was returned 87 yards for a touchdown by Will Wynn. While the defense, so magnificent all year, scored their 4th touchdown of the year, the man who had everyone leafing through their programs was rookie General Mike Barilla, another in the long line of illustrious Stanford quarterbacks. Behind, mow the man down blocking, Barilla threw his first touchdown pass as a pro to Charlie Young, as Philadelphia overwhelmed Green Bay 36-14. In the quagmire that was the Yale Bowl, Barilla completed an incredible 23 of 34 passes for 240 yards the next week against the New York Giants. Under the worst possible conditions, the Eagles easily won their second straight 20-7. The Eagles met Detroit on the season's final Sunday, and while a Super Bowl did not loom on the horizon, a 7-7 record would be the club's best since 1966. The fighting spirit and will to win, nourished through 13 often disheartening games, was never more evident. Mike Barilla, growing even more cool and confident through 2 touchdown passes. With a 7-7 record, the future appears bright, and if one man embodies the future personality and style of the Eagles, it is Bill Bergey. Number 66 came to Philadelphia, and by example uplifted the defense to a point where they surrendered 176 fewer points than the previous season. But hot licks, not cold statistics, measure a middle linebacker, and Bergey intimidated teams with undiminished hitting. Bergey's brawling style captivated fans. To them, he was a man that would face down a gorilla in the open field. Bill Bergey became everyone's hero, because while pretty touchdowns may flutter your heart, a Bergey hit is felt in your gut. The acquisition of Bill Bergey was an important link in bringing the fans of Philadelphia a champion. Leadership and spirit, two elements so desperately vital to team sports, thrives on the Philadelphia Eagles. It is a team that suffers their sorrows and expresses their joys openly. It is a team in the truest sense of the word. The determination to be the best in the NFC's most competitive division is the goal of owner Leonard Toews, general manager Jim Murray, and head coach Mike McCormick. To that purpose, they secured Art Malone and John Tarver, two big backs who can run, catch, and throw what the pros call the killer block. It is the first step in making 1975 a memorable year for a team that never quits.